And hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another wonderful, fantastical, stupendous episode of the PorchFitcks podcast.
Going to be very fantastical today. Very fantastical.
I am your host. He is the other host. We are here to host you while Nick is having some tremendous PC issues. So,
mental breakdown.
Whatever people wind up getting from this, hope you enjoy it. It could be some semblance of a video, could just be audio. Either way, you're going to deal with it. It's perfectly fine. I am very sorry that we have not been around for the past couple of weeks and getting some episodes up. Ever since we did our super awesome, wonderful interview with former staff member and alleged murderer John Free, we've apparently rubbed some people the wrong way, and we've had some cancellations, and then there were some scheduling issues, and there's just been a lot of stuff going on, and we haven't quite had the ability to put out an episode that wasn't just me and him just kind of babbling about anything. So while this episode is going to be him and I just babbling, there is a semblance of a topic that we're going to kind of dive into with it, but just figured we'd give you a little bit of information on kind of what's been going on, and apologize for not having some episodes up. It really wasn't an intentional thing. There was, again, from people canceling to scheduling issues. It was not us. I missed 1 week, and that was due to me having a little trip planned with my daughter, and then every other week aside from that, we've had people cancel. So instead of sitting here and waiting to give you content with an interview or another survivor from a different program or staff member that I'm still working on, and not even going to go into that right now, we're just going to kind of come on here and talk about, how we've done our topic of in the program, what we were like prior to the program, what happened in the program, and a little bit of after the program. And this is kind of going to be more of, life after, which is going to be a very broad yet general type of topic for it, because it's vastly different for everyone. Due to the fact that we are also live streaming this, we'll take maybe a couple of statements and a couple of questions from the chat as well, and that will also come into this episode, so anybody listening can see what other survivors are saying, or potentially just random viewers, and not just have to hear the dumb things that come out of mine and Nick's mouth. So since I've done the majority of the talking from the beginning of this recording, hi Nick, how are you?
Hi. I'm having a mental breakdown, but I'm fine. The last 2 weeks have just been super fucking stressful. If you guys look around, you'll notice there's boxes and not things up that are usually up. I'm doing a lot of packing. We've gotten a lot of bad advice from a realtor. There was a lot of do this and that, which we shouldn't have been doing, but we've never sold a house before. We're new to this. We're first time home buyers. This is our first time selling a house. And it's just it's been a roller coaster, and the last 2 weeks have been just an absolute shit show. And then today was a really good day. We got a new realtor, everything was going good, and then my PC decided to be, an asshole, because I've had nothing but thunderstorms the last 4 fucking days. So it's been a week or two. It's just truck. I want to run into a truck.
Fair enough. Well, so as mentioned in kind of the beginning of this, I figured for the people that have listened, we've done our introduction. We talked a little bit about ourselves beforehand and going into the program and what it was like for us in the program, as well as comparing our stories to some of the other people that we've spoken to about it. And we know that there are a lot of other programs that are still running, and other ones that were there before hours, there after hours, and all of that. And while eventually we do hope to actually get to those. I figure just kind of having this discussion with you and just kind of seeing like how the program affected you after once you were pulled, and what life was like afterwards, things that you had done, maybe you did things a little bit differently because of the program type of situation. And this is just to give people that are listening something to understand that, yes, while being in the program sucks, being in any program of that nature sucks, but there is something, after there is, it's not always
No,
just
yeah.
an absolute shit show type of thing, you know what I mean?
I mean, was it a shit show? Yeah, absolutely. Um, Directly after the program, I went to a boarding school, an all boys boarding school in Pennsylvania called the Phelps Academy. And the hardest thing for me at first was making friends. Still to this day, I don't fucking have many. I have amazingly extreme trust issues. Um, and that carried over even till now. I don't trust people. I don't fucking like people. I have a very hard time going out. Um, just from the social anxiety, but that's also because of my time in the military. So a lot of my things have like over the years been compacted and have grown because of other things that I've gone through. Um Not that I regret like the military. That was the greatest one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my fucking life. And I'd still be in right now. But even in like the military, I didn't have a lot of friends even within my own unit. Um because I didn't have that shared experience with them. Plus, when I went in, I was a little older. I went in at 24. No, 22. I'm sorry. I went in at 22.
Numbers are hard, it's
And
fine.
yeah, and like that's when I was starting the whole process. So even then I was around younger guys or whatever, and then it took 2 years to get in. So when I went to boot camp, I was 24. And everybody there was 19, 18. We had like a couple of 17-year-olds. I was the second oldest or third oldest in the entire troop. So out of the 4 platoons that you fucking do boot camp with, I was the second oldest. So like I had a completely different look on things. So like I didn't even bond with the guys in my fucking boot camp, minus like 2. And I still talk to them once. One of them I talked to once in a blue fucking moon. The other one completely lost touch with. Um, but like I don't go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I hate going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and that's from directly from Ridge. Like even when I was in the boarding school, I like I would hold my piss until I couldn't anymore, and then I'd piss in a bottle because I'm not I nope I'm good. Like I couldn't do it. I don't fill my glass past a certain point. I have to have my utensils set next to me, which again, that was from Ridge. If you remember, they had a like when you went and sat down, it was right there, and like you had to have them like right there until you were told you were allowed to eat. Then it was go. So it was very dress right dress, which helped me in the military. um, but like the trust issue thing, I've had that in relationships. Uh, I had that in friendships. I've had that with my family. To this day, I don't talk to any of my family. Um, there's a lot more to that. That's a very complex issue. But like after Ridge, I couldn't connect with my cousins anymore in any way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
We had nothing in common in my mind. My friends, I cut out all but 3. You, Justin, who I don't talk to anymore, and Tony's, who I don't talk to anymore. You're the only person I've talked to that I've known for as long as I've known him. That's those 2 are for different issues. Anthony, that's just life. Me and Justin, we had a massive falling out, and that is what it is. But I cut like all my other friends, I cut out. Like I was like, I'm fucking done with all of you. I can't fucking trust any of you. Because I would catch on to things that we learned like in the program. Like when people are talking shit and you because we got really good at reading micro expressions and reading the micro body language and reading everybody just in general. So I could tell when somebody was uneasy around me. I could tell when somebody was just kind of like entertaining the thought of talking to me because I was just kind of there, but they didn't want to talk to me. So like I'd go to like my boy Anthony's house parties that he'd have every single fucking year, and I'd be off in a corner. Meanwhile, there's 40, 50 fucking people there. And I'd be off in a corner with like one other dude, like from my boarding school. Like I remember one year I brought my boy Greg with me. Bro, we got hammered, just the fucking two of us. He passed out in the backyard up against the fucking fence in his fucking coat. And I passed out on a lawn chair about 50 feet from him. And we were the only two in that vicinity. Everybody else was in the house. But it was like, y'all don't want to talk to me, so I don't trust y'all anyway. I don't know you motherfuckers. I don't want to get to know you. You're just here. I treated it like a bar, right? Like you go to a club or a
Mm.
bar and you're just like, there's just these people there, like you're whatever. You're there with your boy. You say hi to the guy like that that invited you, and it's like, hey man, cool. He's with everybody else, and you're like, I'm just gonna go over here, and I came with this dude who I'm cool with. I'm just gonna get hammered with him. Like fuck all of y'all. You
See,
know what I mean?
it
Like,
was a bit different for me. Like when I got out, because when I got out, I was technically I guess according to Ridge standards, I was a senior in high school. But when I got out, I was still in the middle of my junior year. So
I was still in 10th grade when I got out.
When I wound up getting out and going to North Carolina to go to high school out in North Carolina because my parents didn't want me to enroll back into my high
Staten
school in
Island,
Staten
yeah.
Island. My whole thing was, while I wasn't trying to make like friends with people because I couldn't trust people, and feeling it was like shame, like I was just in this place for a year, and there was the little habits that were hard to break type of thing, like doing the whole 90-degree turn. Like I would sit there, and when I caught myself doing it when I was in hallways and stuff, because I still did that for
Yep.
a while,
For
you
about
know
two years, I did that.
and I would catch myself doing it in the school, and I'd sit there and I would kind of, and like when my brain knew that it was happening, and I would just kind of over exaggerate it when when I was around people, kind of be like, oh, what is this fucking idiot doing? Be like, all right, man, you got to be official with it, just pulling something out of your ass to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? It's like little things like that wound up
Yeah.
continuing to happen, but it was like I wanted to be around people, but I didn't want to try to get close to people, if that makes sense.
See, for me, it wasn't so much shame because by the time I got out, it wasn't that I was ashamed of what happened. I was afraid of people knowing what happened.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. That's fair.
for the way I look at it, it wasn't like I'm ashamed to tell you. It was more or less like, hey, did you ever read this book or did you see that movie? No, then you won't fucking understand.
Fair.
And
That's
but
fair.
I had already had that in general because of my dad dying in 9/11.
Yeah.
So I already come to that point. I was already at the point where it was like, you don't know shit about me. You can't fucking relate to me anyway. And then I just went through all this shit, man. Fuck out my face. Like I don't like who the fuck I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now around women, I was able to switch it off because when my dad died, I didn't find comfort in drugs or drinking or anything like that. Did I do something? Yeah, of course. Like I smoked weed maybe a handful of times, but like I found comfort in sex. So it was like around women, it was like click off, fucking throw on that fucking smooth New York Italian bullshit. I'm fucking, hey, how you doing? Fucking, but like when it came to me, like unless I wanted something from you, I wasn't talking to you because you had nothing to offer me in way of friendship.
Mm.
Because I'll be like, the only friend in my mind, the only person in my mind who I knew I could 100% trust, who was my fucking ride or die, was you. And Justin for a good point, but even
Mm.
then they were shit. Like I didn't tell that motherfucker because like we had that different friendship. He was my escape. The way I look at it, like he was my escape friend. Like I'm gonna escape from reality. This is who I'm gonna go nuts with. This is who I'm just gonna vibe with and just have fun
Mm-hmm.
with. But when it came to like being a ride or die, like I only had one, and that was you. But you weren't there till later. and
Mm.
it was like the only person I know who can vibe with me, who knows me like that now, is my boy Jack. Which is why we would call each other
Yeah.
5 times a fucking week, and we wouldn't even talk half the time. We would just sit there with the
Sit there.
phone on speaker, just down,
Yep.
and we would just because I knew my boy was right there, and
Yeah, see, you
you
had Justin, and for me, back when I made it back to Staten Island, it was my friend John. It
yeah,
was you've seen him in chat as Sin Eater or Jay Winchester.
yep,
He was the one that was there when I got out, and the one person that didn't give a fuck about where I was, didn't care about the shit that happened. Like, he asked, and I told him, and he was like, "Oh shit, you know, if you want to talk about it," type of thing. But for the most part, like when me and
yeah,
him were hanging out, that was it. Like that was my escape from everything. And
yep.
the amount of trouble I got into that first summer home
Bro, but
was a
like,
little ridiculous. But like I think it's important when you get out, and for anybody that's, you know, in or has gotten out, or and if anybody can even relate to it, I think it's important to have that at least that one person. Like, you've got the friends that you made in the program, and those are especially certain friends that you want to make it in, that you want to keep in touch with, are, for better word, like they are like that person. Like, they know what you went through. They were there with you. They understand. They saw it. They lived it. They fucking lived and breathed it with you. Like, they get it. But when you
yep,
get out and you have that friend on the outside that was a good friend prior and was still a friend and was like, "Oh shit, you know, where the fuck were you?" type of thing, that having that friend to escape reality in a way, I
yep,
think is vitally fucking important. Because if it wasn't for the
yeah,
fact of you and I keeping in touch, when we like when I fucking found you and we kept in touch afterwards, I don't know how that transition would have went, because I didn't talk to other program kids.
yeah.
I didn't talk
Me
to
neither.
any of them. Like, yeah,
Me
sure,
neither.
I think I found a couple on MySpace, and it was like, you know, hey, but it was all like superficial, just small talk bullshit.
Yep.
There was no, you know, substance to it. There was nothing. But
Oh, yeah.
having that person that, even if, like, even as you said, even at the times that we weren't talking, we were just kind of sitting on the phone, and like my mom would be like, "Well, you get off the fucking phone," and I'm like, "Sure, Ma, that's fine, but can I get like 10 more minutes?" She's like, "You're not even fucking talking." I'm like, "That's kind of the point." But
We're just chilling.
like, I think having that was important, and I think having
Yeah.
that connection with you outside of the program after the fact was, I'm not going to say vital to success, but I think it was a vital portion of allowing me to transition back into the
Yeah,
real
because
world.
I and the reason why I think that too is because, like, as we were going through it, we had that, like, hey bro, I got into some shit.
Mhm.
Like, or like, hey man, fucking I don't know what to do, bro. Like, do I go to this party? Like, I don't
Yeah.
and it'd be like, yeah, go, fuck it. Like, what's the
Mhm.
worst that's gonna happen? You're gonna have a good time. Or the worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna sit off in a corner, but put on some fucking tunes, have a beer, fucking smoke a blunt. Like,
Yep.
worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna be sitting there by yourself, but at least you're gonna be chilling.
Yeah.
You maybe get some laughs out of everybody else, but at least you're out the house. And it was like, yeah, all right, all right, yeah, all right, cool. Hey, I'll go. Fuck it.
Mhm.
Then you leave. You know what I mean? But um, after Ridge, it was rough, mainly in the relationship area, both friends and with, having, like a girlfriend and shit. But other than that, man, like, bro, when I went to that boarding school, bro, that was like when I wasn't allowed back at that school because they changed the formatting of the school. Me and 80 kids got uninvited back, which was 80% of the school. There was only 115 kids at the school, or 120 kids in the school total.
Mm.
Bro, I cried for like 3 days. I loved being there, loved it, and because my mother had understood like what had happened, even though she didn't want to talk about it. The school had known what was up. So like the dean of students would check in on me, the fucking headmaster would check in on me, who was also the fucking lacrosse coach. You know what I'm saying? And then I had and it was kind of like a college setting where like you have the dorms and you have like those teachers that live in the dorm and like those private colleges, right? and they come out and they check the colleges or whatever, or like the really private high school. It was like that. So Miss Brennan would come and check in on me, and she was dope as fuck. She was cool as shit. So she'd come and check on me, and then like I got my stereo from mom's, you know what I mean? And it was like I'm sitting there doing homework, blasting tunes, and my roommate, he was a hip hop head from Baltimore, white boy. And then like if we weren't sure what to listen to, we'd be like look across the hallway, be like, "Hey yo, turn that up," and they'd fucking turn their stereo system up, or like somebody would put a speaker out in the hallway. And like, bro, it was just vibing and chilling all day while doing schoolwork, like, and having fun doing it. And then when you was done, you were just hanging out. And then like I had my mini fridge and microwave. Like I bought a mini fridge, my roommate bought a microwave, and we were like, "Hey, let's go halves on this." So we'd go down to the fucking Wawas and we'd grab frozen pizzas, we'd grab hot pockets, we fucking Gatorades, and it was just stacked. And then we started running like a store out of it, and kids would come buy shit from us, like candy or whatever. And I still barely eat fucking candy, so like we'd sell candy bars and shit, which was cheaper than school sold them. Or if the school store wasn't open, kids would come to us. But then like there was a school store, which was like a little mini convenience store. It had frozen pizzas in it. It had like, bro, it was epic. It was like the coolest shit ever. And I met a couple really cool people there. I obviously met a couple girls there. And then I got into a relationship with you know who.
Oh.
Because she went to a sister boarding school. I'm not saying her name. And that relationship at first was amazing, but then it was toxic as fuck, but because of me and her. We were not a good. That was one lustful, bad relationship, bro. The sex was great, and all the physical shit was great. Other than that, it was terrible. She was cheating on me, going out while I was living at her mom's house with her and shit. It was just bad. It was bad. And then because of my bathroom shit, like I had piss bottles in the room, but like I tried to throw them out and shit. But then when me and her had a fight and I left, I just kind of left them all in a room and they were hidden for fucking like 8 months. So, bro, bro, fucking Rich fucked me up. Like it was like this shit I did where it was like it's not excusable. It doesn't excuse anything I did. Do I understand why I did shit now though? And it's like, I became a piece of shit. I became a monster when I got out of there too. My anger was through the roof. My anger was so hard to manage. I remember I got into a fight walking to the gym in Virginia. I just didn't like the way this dude looked at me. And he was with his girl, and I was like, you got a fucking problem. And who the fuck are you? And that was it. Like he responded, "All right, it's go time." And it was I beat the fuck out of him. I beat the fuck out of him. I got arrested, but I didn't go to jail. I got released like 3 or 4 hours later. The guy didn't press charges because the guy's ass whooped. And his girl was like, "Just leave it the fuck alone. Like you were wrong too," because the guy tried to pull the knife out on me. And it was just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like so like anger in the relationships were super hard, but everything else I was able to manage okay. My thinking was off because I was still thinking like that person's gonna fuck me over. This teacher's gonna fuck me over. They're gonna fuck me over. This motherfucker's gonna, and it was just like my thinking was out of whack.
I had the same thing with it. I was very much, and I know for a fact that the Ridge kind of enhanced the whole anxiety, depression, and fucking bipolar side of my own thing, because I hadn't been officially diagnosed with bipolar yet at the time. But when I got out, my anxiety was through the roof because every time I was around big groups of people, especially going into a public high school and seeing it and seeing like the cliques, you know, the different groups of kids that are going around, and like
I couldn't do it.
When they look at you and stuff like that, and the first thing they like in the back of your head is it was still very much program related, going, "Oh shit, like I'm gonna get in trouble for something, or what the hell are they talking about, or what is this gonna happen?" And oh shit, what what's about to happen now, type of thing. And that just carried on for years.
Yeah, but you see, the other reason why you hated it too, even you hated it even before Ridge, and I know you did because oh shit,
We're
everything
good.
froze for me for a second. And I know you hated it too because you're like me. You're a fucking social chameleon. I can change, like, even in high school before Ridge, I could change how I'm acting just a little bit, change how I'm talking just a little bit
Yep.
to go talk with that group here. Oh, y'all are talking about this? Let me pull that out of my fucking filing cabinet I got. Now I can talk to y'all, and I'm
Yep.
cool with y'all. Let me go. Hey, y'all freestyling? Hey,
You
let me
know
lay
that's
down.
a thing that stems from us basically being raised by adults and not having siblings, right?
Yeah,
That's
it was.
exactly what that shit
Yeah,
comes from.
yeah, and it was like, oh, y'all are freestyle. Hold on, let me lay down a beat. And I'd put on headphones, and I'd be like, I got something, and I'd fucking on the fucking table, the whole fucking,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Fucking just pop a beat, grab me a pencil, somebody fucking add on to it, like. Oh, y'all playing cards. Hold on, let me go over there. Let me card shark. Oh, we playing handball. Let me go play some handball with the essays. You know what I'm saying? Let me go play with my Latino boys and like change how. And I'm a social butterfly chameleon motherfucker. I'm all over.
Hmm.
And then after Ridge though, that click shit, bro. I couldn't do it anymore.
See, I
I
still
couldn't even try to
could,
be a chameleon.
but for me, it was like trying to avoid, because for some reason when I got out, I cared so much more what people thought, because I was like, I can't let them know, they can't know like where I was or what I went through type of thing. So like my whole thing was like, wherever the hell I was like, I felt the need to kind of overdo it because I wanted to be accepted.
We were opposite. You cared, whereas I gave no fucks about fucking anything
Yeah,
for years.
it took me a few years to kind of break that habit. It wasn't until that I got kicked out of my house, and I was sitting there in my apartment, and I was like, I went out to this bar one night, and because I knew the bartender and she was just slinging me free drinks, and I was like, this is fantastic. And I was sitting there and I was looking at these groups and I was looking at the people that are going in, and you could tell the dudes that are just there trying to fit in and just trying to make a name for themselves. And I was just kind of looking at it and I was like, is that what the fuck I'm like? And like from that moment, I was just done. I just stopped fucking caring. And when I tell you the weight that lifted that day, but at the same time, it unlocked a whole new slew of shit for me for like not caring. And I was like, oh, I just don't give a flying fuck what people think about me. And then I just started acting like however the hell I wanted to at the time. But
Yeah.
that ability to blend never goes away.
hmm So for me, I didn't have a hard time blending anymore. I didn't want to because I didn't give a fuck anymore. I did not care. I didn't care when it came to my family. I didn't care when it came to my mother. I didn't care when it came to friends. I did not give a flying fuck at all. And it was bad. And I didn't change until after I got arrested in Virginia. Um and for those of you, yes, I got arrested in Virginia. Uh I was charged or arrested for grand larceny. I got dropped to receiving and selling stolen property, which is a misdemeanor. The way it got dropped, and this is where I changed. I had a lawyer who understood everything I had been through, including Ridge. That got brought up in my court case. And the judge understood what was going on. And that was my first charge ever. And the judge was amazed that somehow I had never been in trouble with all the shit I've been through. This is the only thing I got in trouble for. Granted, it was up there because it was over 5 grand. The next charge would have been the $10,000 fucking embezzlement grand larceny type charge, which is a class A. So it was like, you have never been in trouble at all, and this is where you're starting? Okay, look, listen, we need to figure this out. So I got sent to a rehab center. Mind you, I wasn't addicted to drugs. I didn't have an alcohol problem. I didn't have a drug problem. Did I get hot? Yeah. Did I fuck with shit? Yeah. Did I get drunk? Yeah. Did I do it every day? Fuck no. Did I get high every day? Fuck no. A lot of times I hated being high. I hated the feeling. we talked about that extensively. Like, we'd smoke a blunt. I'd have 3, 4 hits. And be like, I'm done, and
I'm
everybody else
done.
would be puffing, and you'd be like, there was a couple times where you would keep going because everybody else, and you'd look at me, and be like, I'd be like- you'd be like, really? I'd be like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
done.
remember.
And you're like, all right, bro, cool. And like because you're like, fuck it, I'm still going. I'm like, bro, go, have fun, dude. I'm chilling. And like we would laugh about it. And I would remember, hey, he could drink on the table, pass him a blunt though, and he only take 2 hits. Fuck you, Jack. You know what I mean? Like we would have that, like, and it was funny. But I didn't have that drug problem. I went because I was addicted to fucking blackout rage and just going off the fucking handle and not having that critical thinking. And
Mhm.
that was a problem from Ridge, because what did I do at Ridge? I threw it all to the fucking window. Threw it all out the window, threw caution to the fucking wind, and was like, "Who was training me today, bitch?" I didn't care. I lost
Mhm.
that all. But when I went into rehab and we dove into that shit because it's inpatient therapy. That was the main reason why I was there, is for the inpatient therapy. And it was the only place I could go other than a fucking asylum, basically. But I didn't like, I don't qualify for that shit. Like, yeah, I'm nuts, but I'm not like, I don't need a frontal lobotomy yet. And nowadays
Yet.
I might. But I'm getting there. I'm fucking getting there. And we dove into shit about dad. We dove into Ridge. We dove into a bunch of shit. My therapist really helped me understand a lot of shit. And that's when my relationships with mom started to change.
Mhm.
That's when my relationship with my stepfather started to change. That's when I started calling him Pops.
Mhm.
And I remember when you called me one day and you were like, "Did you just call John Pops?" And I was like, "Yeah." And you were like, "No, you what?" I was like, "Yeah, I call him Pops now." And you were just like, "No, really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And you laugh like you did now. And you're like, "I can't believe you called him Pops." I was like, "Man, he's the closest thing I've had to a dad since my dad died. Like, but he ain't my father.
Yep.
He knows he ain't my dad. He know I ain't gonna listen to him like that, but he knows I'm gonna listen to him an extent, and I'm gonna show him that respect." And then I found out he was cheating on my mom, and I wanted to cut his throat while he was sleeping. My mom wouldn't let me. Different story. Anyway, um, yeah. um, but like it wasn't until then that I cared. And then I really straightened the fuck up. I got into a third party high school for independent studies because I was too old to go to high school at that point. I was 19. And then I didn't get enrolled until I was 20. I had 4 months to graduate 11th and 12th grade and some 10th grade classes. I had 4 months. I did it in 2.5 straight A's. And then I was able to moved back to New York. I got myself a studio apartment. I went to community college. I got me 60 college credits. I didn't graduate, but I got 60 college credits because I just took shit that I wanted to take. I didn't have a major I wanted to do. I was like, let me take this, let me take this. Like, I want to get I want to get my shit. Like, I want to get college credits. I'll figure it out after I knock out this shit. And it was, bro, I was blasting through that. I had a job. I bought a car. Um, I was getting on my feet. And like I really started changing a lot of things, and like I really started to give a fuck not about what people thought about me, but how I felt about me.
Mhm.
And that was probably the hardest thing to do out of the ridge, is give a fuck about myself. Once you're able to actually do that, like when we got out of there, once I was able to do that, bro, I had a fucking studio apartment. I ended up getting back with Mariana. I had another girlfriend in between, Alicia, who, if that had worked out, I probably would have been married to her. But I ended up finding Mariana. Then all of a sudden I'm in a long term relationship. Now I give a fuck not only about me, but now I got somebody else I'm beyond starting to care about. I'm progressing through the job I got. I ended up getting another job that was even better. Jumping around doing some odd jobs. I'm paying my rent. I'm not behind on my bills. I got food in the fridge. Like, I'm going. Then I ended up saving up enough money. I put her through school for pastry school because she already done culinary. So I had to put my girlfriend through pastry school. She got certified and she starts work. Like, everything just started fucking snowballing in a good way. like in a phenomenal way. Shit, with my family fell apart, with my cousins and aunts and uncles, and but I also had learned a lot of things and was now privy to a lot of things being older. And because I wasn't jaded on shit and I wasn't mad at my mom, I was able to really see things the way they were. And that was the other thing too, is like my clarity on life, like blew up. I was able to see things so much more clear and analyze things in such a better way, but also use some of that bullshit from Ridge to my advantage. Like now I can read your ass. Now I
Mhm.
know when your dumb ass is lying to me. Now I know if you plotting on me just by the way you responded to that shit. And like I could pick up on that. And I was able to really cut shit out of my life and start really bettering myself. And the next thing you know, I was like, I'm trying to go into the Navy. I had an EOD contract. I scored in the top 2% on the fucking ASVAB. I missed nuclear engineer by 2 points. 2 points. My dumb ass by 2 fucking points, and I scored in the top 2% on the ASVAB. Bro, I studied my ass off. Navy fucks me over. The recruiting center closes down. Okay, no worries. Let me take a step back. Let me figure shit out. My ASVAB is still good for a couple years. Let me take a step back and figure it out. Now I'm working at GameStop while also working on another job. Loving working at GameStop. I'm around video games. I get to talk video games. I get to help parents make the right decision and not buy fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 for the kids when they came out because the kids are just telling their mom it's a video game and their parents ain't reading the box right. Getting reviews, and then I was bartending again, and my manager helped me get that job. And it's like, all right, cool. Next thing you know, I made friends with Army recruiters. Didn't even know it. Was going out drinking with them and hanging out with them. And then it was there. Why don't you join the Army? Then I was like, y'all recruiters? Start talking to them. I qualify for every job in the fucking Army. I choose Cav Scout. But it's like, I got to that point where life really started to look up and change for me because I was able to get clarity on myself and I was able to stop with the bullshit and put all that behind me and navigate those waters. And that's the hardest part is giving a fuck about yourself, getting that clarity, and then leaving the bad behind and just and moving forward. Are there still times where it like ticks in the back of my head even till now? Yeah, of course. Like that shit ingrained in me. I was only there 8, 9 months, but it ingrained something in me, and it's never gonna go away. There's still certain things that I'm never gonna be able to change because of that place, but that's fine. I learned how to use it to my fucking advantage.
Yep.
I learned how to use it for my benefit. Turn that negative into something way more fucking positive. And then I join the Army. I go to basic. I come home before I find out my duty. I find out my duty station or whatever. I come home on Christmas break before that. I tell my mom I want to propose. She asks me why. I don't want to. I don't want to think of another day without her by my side. I I I want her with me. Boom. She helps me plan the whole thing. I propose to her. I go finish AIT. I go to Romeo 4 school at Stryker school. I I go to Hawaii. We're engaged still at this point. I'm getting into my unit. I made one of the greatest friends of my life, my sergeant, my first line, Billy O'Neill, who I talk to all the time now. One of my fucking road dog, my fucking war dog right there, bro. That's my boy. And then I meet my boy Slim, who my boy Rob, who is one of my best friends in the world. I meet a couple of other people who I become really close with, but I don't have that bond with them still because I still have that trust issue with people you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it takes me a while to get to that point. I'm there for about a year and a half, 2 years before I really start latching on to some people and really making some real good connections. Because I had to take my time with it because I've been burned in the past. Because what did we do? We latched on to people so fast we got fucked. And then we were like, we realized that person's an asshole later. So I stopped jumping in head first in this shit and being like, because again, them trust issues, but I use it to my benefit. And what happened? The people I didn't latch onto were getting in trouble. People I latched onto were doing good. I got with another fucking sergeant. I was getting ready to try to go to Q school. I had passed all my medicals. Passed it all. I was getting ready to go to pre-ranger school. Get injured. After all the shit I've been through in the military, I was in rollover. A whole bunch of shit. I get injured on a run, whatever. But I was able to get my life so well in order between, getting with Mariana, and then when I find out I'm med-boarding, I found out she's pregnant with our first kid, my daughter. I get out the army, come home, I enroll in MMI because I want to work on motorcycles because I'm a motorcycle junkie. I'm in clubs at this point. I'm a junkie for them. I was when I was a kid anyway, but now I'm a junkie. And it's like everything just kept going and going and going. And now I own a house. I lost my mom along the way. I was able to deal with that. I was there by her side while she was in a coma, and I learned to not hold that shit in. I cried, bro. I cried every day. I cried every day. Even right now, like I'm getting choked up. Like I you know me for how long? Would I have ever cried ever over, especially over my mom?
No, it would really back then it would depend on the height of the emotional state for you. If it was like an intense situation and things just kept building and kept building, yes, but 9% 90% of the time it was just no. It's not something you didn't react that
And
way.
and I was able, like, I reacted that way because I had that clarity. Because I cared about myself. And because I cared about myself, I was then able to care about other people and love other people. And now I got a wife, I got 2 kids who I absolutely adore. My son, I wanna punch him in the mouth because he's an asshole, but I love like it's karma. Like he's me, but in a 6-year-old body, and it's horrible, but it's great. Like, you know what I mean? Like after Ridge, was it hard? Yeah, at first. But once you navigate that and you
So,
figure out
just in
the
a
little shit.
general sense, based on like from when you got out, over the past 18 years,
Yeah.
how much has the Ridge not necessarily like guided, but how much has the Ridge affected where your life has gone? Like things from the Ridge, and you sit there and it kind of pops in your head, and you're like, oh fuck, maybe not. Like how much did your time in the Ridge affect you going through the past 18 years?
I'd say for the first 2 or 3 years, it impacted probably 80% of my life. But once I learned how to navigate those waters until where I'm at now, it impacted me maybe 2% of my life until the fucking documentary came. And then when the documentary came out, a lot of other shit kicked back up. And I had to fix that shit. It took me a month or two. But now, bro, I could talk, I could do this podcast, I could talk to other survivors, I can have that empathy, that sympathy, that understanding, and it doesn't affect me when we're done because I understand, because that's in my past. And I understand that that shaped me. But because I have that clarity, that's not that's not what dictates anything I do anymore. That grass broke on me a long time ago, and the documentary coming out completely shattered that fucking grass. I mean, John Free apologized to me and I accepted it.
Mhm.
I kept talking to him for, I'll say, I kept talking to him for 2 weeks after that. 3 weeks. Message every now and then. He'd message me. Hey, man, what's going on? Oh, hey, Free, what's up, dude? Like, what are you doing? I was able to let that shit go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, because of it, because I was able to move on and I was able to get that clarity, to love myself, and that's the biggest thing, is because I was able to give a fuck about myself, to change. Fuck it. It's just getting to that point. Once you get to that point, you could shatter all that shit. You could shatter them chains. You could ball it up, throw it in the fucking garbage, and never have to worry about it having a grasp on you. Will I ever forget? Fuck no. Fuck no. I still have nightmares from time to time. Yeah. But I don't let it control me. The only thing that can control me is me. And the only thing that I take any advice on or from is from you, my wife, and my gods that I pray to. Other than that, I don't give a fuck. It's my life. I do it how I want to do it. I do it for my kids. I'm living the best life I can fucking live. I bust my ass every fucking day, even if it's just doing shoes or trying to do commissions, trying to get commissions. I don't give a fuck. I'm doing everything I fucking can because it's not about me. It's not like it's about me to a point, but now it's so much more. I have people that depend on me. I cut all the toxic shit out of my life because I learned from it. So it don't impact me. I refuse to ever let it impact me. If anything, the army's impacting me way more now than that shit ever did because my mouth, the only filter I have is on the end of a cigarette, and I quit smoking a fucking couple years ago, so I ain't got no fucking filter in my life between my brain and my mouth, motherfucker. I've lost over 30 jobs because I can't not tell somebody you a stupid motherfucker. Like, I don't care if I'm working or not working. Like when I was working at Harley, I was a horsepower performance specialist. People would come to me, hey, I want to do this with my bike, and they come to me with a parts list, and I'd sit there and I'd be like, that ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna work. Sir, what you brought me, this ain't gonna work. I can make you something that'll work. This won't work. Like, at all. These parts will work, but with all of this shit you got in between, it ain't gonna work. And they hated it. People hate it. They hate being told that they're dumb. But I can't not tell you that you're dumb, because if I let you do dumb shit, then it's on me. So, if anything, the army's impacting me way more. Because, like, when you get privates and shit, it's, hey, dumb fuck. Unfortunately, when you say that to civilians and they're your customer, it don't really work too well. But what about you? So you went to North Carolina. We link up Virginia, we link up New York. Like, you had some up and downs. How much of all of that you think was because of the ridge, or like, do you think any of it was because of the ridge? You think it was the ridge impacted you to act certain ways to where we got into those situations? Or was it more of like, y'all put me in this motherfucker, now I'm acting fool? Like, was it revenge? Because some of the shit we did, I know for a fact some of the shit I did those first 2 years was a revenge act out. Like, really, bitch? You thought I was bad before? I'm gonna show you bad now, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah, I think when I got out,
yes, Kara, I did work with your brother.
Just getting back into life in general, I had that, the whole act out type of situation, and just, doing shit to do shit. And like that first summer when I was back in Staten Island, I hanging out with friends, I fucking ran away from home and was on the run for like 2 weeks. And I wasn't really on the run, I was hanging out at my fucking friend's house for 2 weeks and just kind of just stayed away from home because I didn't want to be around there, because situation at home wasn't the best. We were still at odds with my dad at the time, and I held a lot of resentment towards them. So, as time went on, again, I had still had the undiagnosed, bipolar disorder at the time, which was rearing its head more and more, and I didn't quite know what was going on. I just realized that, that some days I was waking up, it was like, I didn't quite, it was before I started to do my deep dive into mental health, because that is one thing that absolutely stemmed from Ivy Ridge, was what became my passion for mental health and learning about it, and just trying to be more aware of things and why it became such a focus in my life. And I will say that's one of the positive things that kind of came from it, and just how I am in regards to that stuff now. But when I was younger, I didn't understand what was going on with me. I didn't understand why, like, one day I could run a fucking marathon. I just had energy, and
Yep.
I was out. I didn't sleep. I just I had no idea what was going on, but I loved it. I chased those days, but then, after 3 days of that, the crash came, and I didn't quite understand why, for lack of a better term, I wanted to eat a bullet as often as I did when I was younger. I didn't get it, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
led to a few of my suicide attempts. And obviously, while I didn't succeed, there's a couple times got kind of close, and
Yep. You're not alone in that one. Mine were for different reasons, though.
I didn't get why I could wake up one morning and be perfectly fine, but the next day I did not want to get out of bed. I didn't want to exist. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to be in my own body. Like I just didn't. It was just the only way to put it is I did not. Nothing. And I didn't get it at the time. And I still didn't get it for years later, until I kind of figured out what was going on, and I started to see a therapist, and then they started to tell me what was going on. But then they started to analyze my situation and see how you said you found comfort in women and relationships, and not necessarily relationships, but sex.
Yeah.
I didn't go that route for the whole sex thing. I craved that emotional connection.
You were a serial monogamist.
And my whole thing was, which got, once it was analyzed in therapy, it kind of flipped my whole fucking world upside down. But my whole thing, once I hit a certain age, is I always I went after the older women who had fucking kids.
Yep. Yeah, you did.
And I remember one of my therapists at the time was like, so let's explore that. And I was like, what is there to explore? It's like, it's just an older woman. She's got kids. It's like, she's an older woman. Like, hello. But they're like, no, let's explore it. And I was like, what is there to explore? And this was one of the only therapists I had actually talked about Ivy Ridge to, which didn't quite understand, but I guess it made them understand where I was mentally in the time. And it was their analysis of it was, because I craved the, for lack of a better term, love as a child, I gravitated towards women with kids to make sure that the kids didn't feel the way I felt.
Yep.
And I was like,
actually, I remember talking to you about that a couple of times.
And
like, and I'd be like, bro, why are you? And you'd be like, bro, because she's got a kid. And I'm like, yeah, why are you like,
yep,
bro? And you were like, well, the kid's got none of this, and like I need to, I have to do something. And I'd be like, bro, I get that, like I respect that, like, why I love you, bro, but really want to do that? And you were like, yeah, and bro, I got you. All right, hey, you need me, call me, dog. I'll back you up.
Well, the thing is after that analysis, and that's after things started to kind of click a little bit and make some sense, I still wound up being fucking dumb, and that's when I wound up in jail, because I was trying to take care of a woman and her fucking kids. And thinking about all of that stuff now, and that decision, and even just kind of like looking back on it like that, I fucked my life up with that. And I mean, I'm still trying to pick up the pieces from all that. But the thing is getting out of there, getting out of jail, and doing everything myself. Like, I got myself out, I enrolled in the Art Institute for 3D game design and through animation and game design, and wound up getting a job. And then I wound up, we don't own a house, but getting in a place to live. I wound up with my wife currently. Stopped going to school to work to be able to take care of everything and do everything I need to do. But like, I did the probation, I did the parole, I did all of it, paid everything off, and worked and worked and worked. And then, lost one job and wound up immediately going and finding another one. And when all of that shit wound up falling apart, I started working for myself and doing the content creation thing. And all of this just for the simple driving force of, which is hilarious, but the simple driving force of making sure that the fucking kid's taken care of, and making sure that
Yeah,
my wife is good. But it was
yeah, but
different because it was
yep,
my situation at this point in time, and I was old enough at the time to realize what was going on. Now, while I'm aware of, the bipolar disorder and all that, and while no, I am not medicated, because apparently finding the right medication cocktail that works for me is a Herculean task. I have a better grasp of it now because of how much time I've spent diving into it and learning about it. And yeah, sure, there are still days where, when I'm not quite aware of it, it'll like kind of click, and I'll look at my wife and be like, no, I'm having, a bad fucking couple of days. Like, I don't know what exactly is going on, but I'm more aware of things now in that regard, and can somewhat get a hold of it. Now, there are some days when I absolutely can't, and it beats me. Like, I won't lie. There are days where it kicks my fucking ass, and I just feel utterly defeated. But I think one of the things that helped and still helps to this day is realizing waking up for a whole year in that place and taking it every single day, seeing the same shit, everything that was going on in there, all of the dumb shit that happened in there, all of the lying and the clicks and the bullshit and just the backstabbing crap that happened in there, and just putting on the facade that you had to put on to get through there,
yep,
is one of the best tools that I had to get me through the past 18 years of my own fucking life.
yeah. Very
So,
different approach to how I had it.
yeah. Yeah, very much so. So, I'd say for me, it doesn't play as much of a part nowadays. The Ridge doesn't. The lessons learned and just the way life is in general, like I've taken a lot of the things that happen in there, and like I'm aware of certain things. Like, still to this day, I eat fast as fuck. Like,
Yep, I do too.
I cannot break that habit. For me to actively break that habit, I have to sit there and consciously think about what I'm doing and force myself to slow down and eat. And it is, but the thing is like halfway through the meal, like a conversation will start happening and I'll start talking about it, and then it's just and then you're like,
Yeah.
damn it.
So I did that before I went into the army. I'm even worse now since I got out the army with that. I eat fast enough that sometimes, like when my mom was still alive, like she'd be like, "I'm gonna throw up if you don't calm down."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Why are you gonna throw up?" She goes, "I can't watch you fucking eat."
Yeah. It's
So
like the little
I get
things like
that.
that still happen with me, but like getting out and just going back into the world and just trying to find the way to kind of like fit in with it, because for me, like, that's, I didn't want people to know, so I tried a little bit harder. And when I finally got over that and just kind of started living it, like, now to this day, I don't give a flying fuck what people think about me, and it's whatever. And it's the same kind of lessons I try to teach, my daughter at this point. Like,
Yep.
she's at the age now where starting to care more about what people think, and it's that teenager status. And it's like, while I
Yeah.
know I can, preach it till I'm blue in the face, the more that she sees how I am and what I'm doing with it and how I handle people and how I handle things like that, maybe it'll rub off on her. But I think for me, the biggest lesson and the biggest thing that I learned is, and you'll understand this, no matter how bad things get, and life is life, and while I may not be in a great situation and things are always kind of adding up and there's always one thing after another, it's very much, I'll figure it out. It is what it
It is what
is.
it is what it is, bro. We'll figure it out.
And it's not a great way to go about it, but if I don't look at things that way and I let it crush me,
See, I disagree. I think it's a phenomenal way to go about it.
I mean, two sides.
But here's why though. because we view it that way, right? Because we view it as it is what it is. At that point, we don't overstress ourselves unless we feel we absolutely need to. And it allows us, in our mind, to compartmentalize and put things in order of importance. And because we think it is what it is, fuck it. What do I gotta do to figure it out? Oh shit, fucking pop, 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 pop. Okay, cool. Now I know what I need to do. Then something else pops up, and like, it is what it is. I'll figure it out. And
The
it's not at that
issue,
point. Yeah,
the issue is when it keeps going. And that's
yeah,
that's where I'm getting at for. When you get to that it is what it is type of situation and the shit just keeps piling and there's one thing after another. And it
yeah.
keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And no matter how good you are at the it is what it is lifestyle, and every single person in here has gotten to that point at one point or another, but every single father with a wife and kids
Oh yeah.
understands that it is what it is type of situation, and that is the life you have to live because you have a wife and fucking kids to take care of. The issue, the reason why I said that it's not the greatest thing is when it gets to that point where things keep piling and piling and piling, and you're sitting there like, all right, it is what it is. All right, I'll figure it out. It is what it is. One that last little thing that's gonna hit the top. And then at that point in time, once it crushes you, you're kind of stuck in that oh fuck situation. And sometimes for some people, it's hard to remove yourself, to kind of distance yourself from that, to try and compartmentalize it, to try and
Yeah, I can
organize it and sit there. And like for me, it takes a lot to get me to that point. It does. We've been through hell on fucking earth. We've been through enough shit that people are like, oh damn, like, and somehow we're still fucking going. As I've told you, fucking even over the past couple of months, I don't understand how the hell I'm still functioning right now with all the shit that's fucking going on.
Yeah,
But somehow I'm still here, and I'm still fucking trying, and I'm still trying to make light of the situation, even though I know it's fucking useless. But you hit that point and it's like, all right, what do I do now? So, but it's the same lesson from the Ridge. You literally, you gotta just fucking do it.
Yeah, at the same time though, it's a strength though, right?
Yeah.
Because we can either, it is what it is, but we'll figure it out, or we can be like, oh my god, what the fuck do I do?
It's kind of how I feel most days lately, but you know, you can't let other people know that.
But you know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah,
It's either that or it's get crushed under the weight of a fucking feather.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be Atlas, or do you want to be fucking Achilles?
I won't be neither. That both sounds terrible.
That's the only way to do that. Especially as a dad. We're either Achilles, where we're head charging it until we get fucked, and then it's like, ah, shit. Or do we become Atlas, who bears the weight of the world, struggles, but still bears that weight of the world and keeps it going? It's finding that balance. We got to know when to fucking hit it and know when to. All right, hold on, just give me a minute. Let me just hold on, dog.
So I think the main thing here is there's no single person that was in any of these programs that can say that it didn't have an effect on them once they got out. But it's all a matter of how you take your life once it's in your hands again and what you do with it. Because yes, programs happened. Actually, someone in chat said it. Program is definitely a piece of the story, but not the whole story. There's a lot of life after. You have the control of making that life whatever you want it to be. Many of us have families, children, friends, careers, etc., and against the odds have moved forward. The program is something that happened, but it isn't everything. And that was a fantastic way to put that. Because while it is, it's something that happened in your life, it is something that was a very prominent piece of your childhood. And yes, it did shape you in some way, shape, or form to who you are today. Whether you can say, oh, it has nothing to do with it. You were in that place in the formative years of your life, and it instilled things in you that you may not be aware of, which, fuck, there are things that I wasn't aware of until fucking 2 months ago.
X.
These things happen, and yes, it did play a part in your life. It did have a role, and it did shape you to become who you are today. But when you get out and you have your life in your hand again, yeah, the program did fuck up a lot of people. It scarred all of us in one way or another. There are traumas, memories, nightmares. There are things that come up that suck. There are memories that wind up surfacing 18 years later, and you're like, shit. The thing is it's not going to completely control your life unless you let it. And while there are some people currently that are still letting the program control their life.
Some?
It's not the end-all, be-all. It's not everything. Your life, once you're out of there, once you get past that initial transition phase from inside the program to outside in the real world, and you have control of your own life again, it's sure it'll make a couple decisions for you unintentionally, but it's not going to be the only thing in your life for the rest of your life. It's going to be a memory. It's going to be a portion of the grand scheme of things.
Now, with that being said, right, we've touched on a few things like relationships and all this and the third. When it comes to friendships, though, because of the things how it shaped us and all that, how much more meaningful are the actual friendships that you have now compared to like the ones you used to have? Because the friendships that I have now with Dustin, Jet, or Decade, Jet, fucking Creed, Newports, my boy Billy Butcher, you know, the relationships I have with them now, Hamish, like, fuck, bro. The relationships I have with them are 10 times more meaningful than any relationship I had prior or directly after the Ridge. They are, Dustin has helped me through wanting to fucking eat a bullet. I've talked him off a ledge. Jet's been there for me even before the documentary. Like, I've never talked to them about it until the documentary came out. Then they watched it and they all knew. My boy Pete, fucking Boozer, bro. The relationships I have with those dudes, the only person who I have a stronger relationship with is you, because of the length of time and the things that we've personally been through together, like the greatest time of my life. That's the only reason why it's a step above, because there's very specific things that you and I share that will never be recreated, that I'll never be able to relive, that I'll never be able to create or even think of creating ever again. But we also went through hell together.
Yeah.
The bond we have is insane. But the closest relationship I have to that is with those guys and my boy Rob, who I was in the military with. Other than that, like, not other than that, but those relationships, the ones I have now, make every relationship prior and the short ones after look like absolute wastes of time in my eyes.
See, there's one thing that Ivy Ridge did for me, that another additional thing that Ivy Ridge did for me, and it gave me this wonderful ability to drop people like a bad habit,
like
and
a
not
fucking
feel a thing.
Bro, not even like a bad habit, because bad habits sometimes can be hard to break. I've dropped them like dropping a deuce and just flushing the toilet, bro. I've just courtesy flushed that motherfucker. Like, it's so easy.
I gotta give it credit for that. It did give me that. You know, I've dropped people for nothing, and as far as friendships go, they're very, it's few and far between. I have very few friends. Like there are people that I would consider legitimate friends that I talk to on a semi consistent basis, that that know more than the average person. And then I can count those on, I think, yeah, no, I could definitely count those on less than two whole hands.
Yeah, me too. Like less than two.
Like knowing people and hanging out and talking to people and all that, and just seeing how people are in general. It's there's certain friendships that you wind up building and getting that you can, that you may not talk to every day, or like there's that time where like, you take like the 6 month break or the year long, and you wind up going like, hey, what's going on? Like you and I have done countless times over the past 18 fucking years.
But when you call me or when
Mm-hmm.
I call you, it's yo,
Yeah.
what up, what up, though, and then but it never feels like we've had that gap.
Yeah. So the other thing that it also allowed me to realize that not everyone is in it. Not everyone that you meet or everyone that you know or everyone that you make friends with has your best interest at heart. And some people are just in it to get what they can out of it. And some people are just there, fair weather friends. To put it,
Fair weather friends, where are you now?
like, it's the easiest way to put it. There are people that you
They're
that
only
you can
there for the
say
good times.
there are people that you can say they are a friend. There are people that you can say they are an acquaintance. And there are people that dance that line, and it's up to you to really decipher where that goes. And I think that's one of the lessons that was actually hardest for me to learn when I got out, is because I chased that same type of bond that we formed inside.
That yeah, I can see that.
I chased that because you weren't around, and I didn't have anybody that understood. So I chased that type, and I still find myself like randomly just kind of sliding into that old habit of like thinking like, oh, maybe this person's all right, and like just seeing there. But then every now and again, like it'll just click, and you're like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Type of situation.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like I still catch it, and and I'm not gonna say I'm ever gonna be completely free of all things Ivy Ridge, but I will say lessons learned and how I treat my life and how I treat my kids and people that I meet on a daily basis, or my job, or people that I meet in regards to streaming or any of the mental health things. It does allow me to differentiate between all of it and figure out where people stand in the grand scheme of things. And it's not a matter of like, can I get anything from it? Is if there's no benefit to my life in any way, shape, or form, whether it be friendship, camaraderie, if you're just there taking up oxygen, it's not worth my time. And I can see that.
Yeah,
now.
I can't have that. I can't have people who are just spinning their tires around me.
Yeah.
I have to have people around me that are ambitious, that are at least trying, that are at least grinding. So they may not even really be doing much, right? Like, I got a buddy of mine. I'm not gonna say his name because it's not important. But I got a buddy of mine, right, who was doing a reseller's business. Couldn't find a job. He was having a really hard time finding a job. So he's doing like reselling shit, like going to Goodwill, this, that, and the third. You're doing something. You're trying to better yourself. I got you. Really shitty situation. He's trying to make the best of it. Then he got another job, and then he started with DoorDash and all that, and then he started compacting shit because he's trying to better himself. And now he's got a job as a dog trainer. Like if you're taking steps to fucking do something, that's what I want around me. That's what I need around me. I need those people. If you're one of those motherfuckers who are still 35, living in mommy and daddy's fucking house, without a job, who sleeps all fucking day, who doesn't get up till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't need you in my fucking life because you ain't doing shit. I'm trying to do shit. I'm trying to better my life. I'm trying to fucking I I'm trying to fucking raise my kids to fucking not spin their wheels. I gotta be the example. If I have shitty friends around me, what kind of people they gonna have around them? I don't need your dumb, broke, stupid ass around me. You could be broke, that's fine. But if you're making the steps, if you're trying to better yourself, if you're talking about it and you're reaching, like that's what I need. That's what we need. Because you're in the same mindset as me. Like, I can't. If you're just sitting there spinning your wheels and then you just put that bitch in park, you're like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm stuck. If you ain't taking them steps, you like, who the fuck are you? And I can't turn to you for fucking advice because the fuck do you know about anything?
Yeah.
Living at mommy and daddy's house, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? No offense to everybody that lives at mom and dad's house that's trying to do some shit. I'm talking about the motherfuckers that aren't even trying to get out of mommy and daddy's house.
I think the main takeaway from this is anybody that comes across this just getting out or that was there that is still wondering, like, is it all worth it in the end? I'll tell you a little something. When I first got out of Ivy Ridge, that first couple of years, and I remember telling Nick this, I can't even tell you how many times. I told him I wasn't gonna live till 20.
I think I said, well, I wasn't going to live past what, 22?
And for a long time, I believed that. Whether I was gonna take my own life, some dumb shit was gonna happen, I was gonna get killed for the people that I was hanging around and the shit that I was doing.
We'll be lucky if we live to 25, homie. We used to say it all the time to each other.
And while, if I'm being completely honest, while I can sit here and say, I'll continue to fight my own battle of mental health, that, maybe one day it wins, maybe one day it doesn't. But I was a very firm believer in that I was not going to make it very far. The key is you got to find something to believe in. And if it can't be yourself, if you can't let yourself be the focus, if you can't just realize that you want to better yourself and you want to better your own life and you want to do something with your life, find something that you can associate it with and just fight. You went through it. You went through shit in a program. You're going through shit when you get out, trying to adjust to real life. Take it from someone that really didn't think I'd ever be where I am. And as I said, I may not be in the greatest position. I may be struggling on a daily basis just to try and find a fucking pot to piss in. But, I got a wife, 2 kids, doing this to try and help someone somewhere. It's not always gonna be sunshine and fucking rainbows. It's not always gonna be down in the fucking dumps fighting for your life, but you will get somewhere. You will do something, and your experiences, while they will shape you, they will help someone and yourself down the line. It's not always going to be terrible. It's not always going to be great, but it is always going to be something worth living. No matter what.
Yep. And one adage that I've always that my father taught me, right, was and this rings true on so many levels, right? Even if you can't do it for you, there's somebody out there that believes in you that you need to do it for. It doesn't matter what you may think you are the worst, like oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Nobody, there's somebody out there that relies on you in for something or another. To think it's just about you is selfish because it's not just about you. Whether you're doing drugs or no, cool, you get yourself high. How many people you hurting in the process? Oh, you're just spinning your wheels, stuck in your shit, being a toxic fuck. Okay, well, who's that hurting around you? It's not just about you, but about those around you. And I've said it a million times to him. Y'all have heard me say it here. If it wasn't for my wife, when I probably wouldn't be here. I know, like, I can wholeheartedly say that I would have ate a bullet a while ago. I was as great as things went for me after the Ridge. I hit some massive low points, but that wasn't just Ridge related. That was just in general. You know what I mean? I was dealt a really bad hand. I know a lot of people are dealt bad hands, but knowing what now my dad said that shit to me, like, there's always somebody that you're going to impact. I couldn't do that to my mom. And then it was, I can't do that to like my cousins like back in the day. And it was like, I can't do it to my mom. I can't do it to my girl. I can't do it to Jack. I couldn't leave this man behind. If I left him behind, I know what he'd be going through. I refuse to do that to him. And then I met my girl, Mariana. I refuse to do that to her. Cause what the fuck? She don't deserve that. And now I got kids. I know what it's like to grow up without a dad. I will be fucking damned if that happens with my babies. I ain't gonna put them through that. Regardless of how I might feel up here. Because my mental shit ain't great. Like, it's far from it. I probably need a lobotomy in the next couple of years. I'm losing my shit. But I ain't gonna fuck quit. I can't. That's selfish. That don't help nobody. But in the process of helping them and doing shit for them, who am I really helping? I'm helping my fucking self. That's just how you gotta look at it. You gotta find those people around you that love you and realize that you're hurting them too. It's not just about you. It's never just about you. It's never just about one person in your life. It to think to think that way is just selfish, and that's how you get into trouble. That's how you get into these spots. That's how you start doing dumb shit because you think, oh, it's not going to affect nobody. No, motherfucker, it affects a lot of people.
I think while we bring this to a close, I think I'll leave everyone with anybody that's actually made it this far. Welcome, and I hope you've enjoyed this ridiculous journey. But I'll leave you all with this. As cliche as it sounds, don't ever think that no one would miss you. If you're struggling mental health wise, if you're struggling with your life in general and you're just struggling with day to day, reach out. Talk to someone. You're not alone in that aspect.
We're always here.
You're not alone. You do have people that love you. You will be missed no matter what you may think. And the world is definitely a better place with you. And if you fucking need to, go find somebody and hug them. Just realize you're not alone. We love you. Even if we don't fucking know you, we love you.
Unless we told you we don't like you.
Even then, we still kind of love you a little bit, but you're kind of an asshole. That's how that works. But just keep fighting. Keep fighting the fight.
That is the best quote I've seen in a long time, and that's the perfect quote to end the recording on right there. From fucking Agent fucking Helix. You see that quote? We're ending it on that quote. Because this quote is phenomenal. Agent Helix writes, "It's not about the world burning around you. It's about the fire it ignites in you." I got a little bit of a chill with that. That quote is, that's a quote. I need that on a t-shirt or some shit. That's a quote.
But on that note, everyone, thank you for hanging out for this episode. Obviously, for the live stream, we're still going to go for a little bit. But for those of you that are listening to the recording or watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever the hell else we're at, which I don't even know anymore. It's whatever. We're everywhere. It's fine.
We're everywhere.
Thank you for listening. We love you. And we'll be updating people here in a couple of weeks about what's going to be happening with things and how stuff's going to be going with the podcast. Obviously, this is going to be continuing, but it may not be the ultimate focus. But we will update you all accordingly. But we love you all. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Y'all have a good one. Deuces!